expires this August. BARB's president, Ed Bushell, said at the time the move was not unexpected since that plan had been losing money for some time. But he recently told CBC there is some positive news for the more than 40,000 members of that association.
We hope very shortly to roll out part of the insurance for all the bar members. All I can say is going to be free, but it's not going to be insurance, a medical insurance as we understand it, but it's going to be an opportunity to reduce your medical costs significantly, especially in cases of major surgery and catastrophic injuries and stuff. Medical care, we're going to be rolling out something very, very shortly.
Concessions to dentists on their tools and equipment could translate into lower costs for patients. And the chairman of the Caribbean Dental Program, Dr. Victor Eastman, wants government to consider this. He was speaking during the opening of the Caribbean Dental Program conference. Dr. Eastman says modern medical equipment is necessary to provide up-to-date services to Barbadians.
It is my hope that the medical and dental professions in Barbados and the wider Caribbean be afforded the opportunity to access such equipment without encountering the necessary high-duty bill cost and restrictions which currently pertains. In essence, the cost to patients can be reduced with the lowering of the overall expenditure when duties are eliminated for the private practitioner who is desperately trying to provide the services to the people of the country.
Another life-saving machine has been donated to Ward B8 at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and it's through a partnership of two charities, the League of Friends and the Women Excellence and Empowerment Ministries. President of the WEEM, Andrea Harris, says the decision to donate a defibrillator, which costs about $24,000, is the result of becoming aware of the ward's needs when one of their members had been a patient on that ward.
Over 3 years ago, my husband was a patient here in Ward B8, and he discovered after some investigations that there was some equipment that was needed for the hospital, and after discussing with the sister of the ward, we realized that they needed a defibrillator.
On hand to receive the donation was Nursing Officer Carolyn Arthur. She says the equipment will be useful in caring for patients who are being treated with ear, nose, and throat infections and those who suffer heart attacks.
It is used in the event of if a patient goes into ventricular tachycardia without a pulse or a VFib, or the heart stops, basically, we can actually use this to resuscitate the patient. So yes, it is indeed an important life-saving piece of equipment, and we are indeed grateful, very grateful to the Women Empowerment Excellence and Empowerment Ministries and the League of Friends for donating and partnering to donate this piece of equipment to us.
After a parent realizes their child has a special need, the next logical step is to put them in an environment best suited for them. For some parents, however, that's like stepping into the unknown. Kamita Jones explains.
There's nothing quite like a mother's instinct when it comes to her child, so it's not often that her gut feeling is questioned. But that was the case when Janelle Phillips began to share her concerns with others about her son's development.
I was told just give him a chance to develop. Some children develop at different stages, so maybe a little later.
So why was she so worried about her 3-year-old son?
He was very withdrawn. He wouldn't interact as you expect a child of that age to be doing. He's quite withdrawn, and he seemed not to be aware of his own space and others' space as well. So those are things that, set off a few red flags for me.
Director of the Sunshine Early Stimulation Center, Dr. Julie Silly, says it's at that point there needs to be an intervention by the nursery or preschool and pediatricians. She says to determine if the intervention is necessary, a development checklist should be used by the childcare providers.
So when you know you're not relating and getting a nice back and forth with that baby, and then especially as the baby gets older, then that's a red flag for a clinic, for a parent, for a daycare to be able to say, you know what, let me check it out. Because if I check it out and nothing is wrong, nothing to lose. But if I check it out and something is found, then it's amazing then that the difference that you can make in that child's life.
Dr. Seeley points out that the most common sign that something is wrong is poor engagement from the child.
The difficulties that we see, although all the children might have different labels and different disabilities, what we see across the board is that all the children have difficulties relating and communicating.
According to Ms. Phillips, the developmental individual difference relationship-based model used at the school has helped with Aaron's social skills. Ms. Phillips says since the model includes the parent, she has had to adjust her view of Aaron's disability, seeing him for what he can do rather than what he can't.
Every day my son amazes me about the things he knows, how he challenges me, his thinking, the questions that he asks. I really never thought that he would get to that point, but it is really, really, really amazing how much he has developed.
Because of Aaron's progress, Janelle says many still believe he should be in a mainstream classroom.
People say, so why isn't he in primary school, regular school, or when are you going to move him? I said, he's fine where he is and he's doing beautifully. He's developing well.
Nevertheless, she has come to realize that because of his unique requirements, he is best suited to being in a special needs classroom.
Aaron might need a little more physical stimulation to keep focused. He might be over-responsive in certain areas or under-responsive in others. So you need to be aware of these things. That's the individual differences. I think that in schools sometimes we don't think about how children really are very different and how to address the differences in these children in regular schools.
Social work student Melissa Walcott says working with special needs children can be quite challenging, but she now has a new understanding of them.
To see that they don't give up, to see that whatever they are given in the classroom, that yes, they have individual differences, they still try, they still take part, and to me they're still children. And I like the naturalness of them as that although they have the special need, that they're not they're not different from any other child out there. They still have the feelings, the same reactions.
As this special group emerges from the shadows, Ms. Walcott believes there's a greater need for public education programs to shed more light on these special children. Kimita Jones, CBC News.
And still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across our region.